Pleasant good morning to one and all. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to this Monday's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome, one and all. Welcome to you. Let me advise you very early to share the live, and let people know that we're on this bright Monday. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and that you're looking forward to a productive week. We have so much to tell you this morning, so much. Again, I know time is going to catch up with us, so we're going to go into it in a short while. But share the live, give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you appreciate what we are doing. We appreciate you being here. Last night, we scheduled a program at just after 10, and immediately students poured into the schoolyard. When we do the roll call, you will get to see what I am talking about. So share the live and let them know. Give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, and show your appreciation. My colleague, Mr. Clinton Conway, CC as he's familiarly called, is already in the studio waiting, ready for us to delve into some of these issues that we decided we are going to discuss with you this morning. Today promises to be a very, very interesting day, even more interesting than some of the other days, which is really hard to imagine, but it is going to be that. In the announcement for the program yesterday, I indicated that we're going to talk about this issue where the police have issued a statement to say they are doing away with promotion examinations, and they talk about other things. We're going to examine the statement by the police. We also said we're going to talk about a video. There's a video going around on social media where a police sergeant is telling a man that if he continues to record him, take a video of him, that amongst the cyber crime. So we're going to go into these things. So share, and let people know that we are on. We are also giving the opportunity to those who are tasked with recording what we say and to report it to higher authority. So everybody gets an opportunity. And as I've said, when we come on this program and we say things that we know to be true. We say things that can be easily substantiated, and we challenge them, as we have done in the past, to dispute anything that we have said. We continue to challenge them. If we see anything here that is not authentic, it is not true, you're free to challenge it. So yeah, share the live. Again, I want to very early encourage you to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button so you get notification when we go live. Also go to, and that's the YouTube channel, and go to Facebook and like the page. So that helps to inform others of this program. A lot of people, everywhere you go, people telling you that they are watching the program, they are happy with what they're seeing, and they are encouraging us to continue to speak truth to power, and we will continue to do so. We have a commitment that we will continue to bring the news to you. We'll continue to analyze some of these issues. So yeah, share the live, and we are going to get started fully in a short while. As we would normally say, always say, this is the day that the Lord has made. We must rejoice and be proud of it and be glad in it. We must rejoice. The day that the Lord has made. We also have to give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. So many persons are not that fortunate. So share, and we will commence in a short while with the roll call, and then we're going to do announcements, and we are going to go straight into the issues. As I've said, my colleague is already in the studio, and he's waiting to bring you good, credible, valuable information. Hit the notification button. Numbers are mounting. I know some people, we try to start 11 o'clock on the dot. So some people take some time to get logged in. Some people wait until the roll call is finished and all of that. And again, I need to explain again that once we schedule a program, those who are on YouTube get the opportunity to log on. They make comments, they say good morning, they say stuff. And the ones on Facebook will wait until we go live, and then they get the opportunity to come in. So we are at large numbers. And let me say this based on the records. Today, Monday, the 15th of April, the students that we had in the schoolyard, as we would say, before the school door was open is a record number. We had a record number. Congratulations to you on that. So many in the schoolyard. And as I said, when we do the roll call, you'll come to see what we're talking about. This is not us just calling out numbers randomly. So much so that this morning I took some notes of those who were there. Luckily, I did so because by the time we went live, the earlier ones, at least 5 of the earlier ones, were struck off because I think this platform allows a certain number or a certain hours earlier, and then they take it off and you continue with those who would have come on later. So when we went live, I have the record right here. When we scheduled the program this morning, the first person on was Anthony Jarvis. He came on at 10:19 p.m. last evening, Sunday the 14th. Then followed him, we had Corinne. Corinne came on at 10:48. We had Bart, who came on at 10:53. Cecile came on at 11:24. And then Francis Ann came on at 11:58. Then first man this morning early was Carlton Lewis, my squad mate. He came on at 12:11. And we also had at 12:22, Carlisle. Carlisle is here, so I can put it up. Carlisle came on at 12:22. Then we had Tallulah, Patricia, Barlett, all the way from Linden, Brian, Courtney, Sean. We know Sean is from New York. He's never absent from class. The one time I remember him absent, he had to go someplace and he indicated to us that he would be absent on that day. Maureen is here. And Maureen said she's waiting. She's at 1:27. And she's from Seattle. So when she came on at 1:27 this morning, she said it was 10:25 in Seattle, Washington. That's on the West Coast. Then we had Ronald, Earl, Patricia. Another Patricia, this is Patricia Atley. She's from Philadelphia. Then we had Sharon in Sharon in UK. She is a UK student. George from BV, another UK student in Wayne. Then we had our secretary, Denise, another UK student, Winston, followed by another UK student, Lynette. Then the one and only Vibert. Then he was followed by Winslow, Shetrad, Barbara, Charles BX from New Jersey, followed by Joan, followed by Cecile, followed by Winston, and Winston is from California, followed by Ulrich from Crane Housing Scheme, John. Then I've never seen this one before, so this is a new student, at least a new student commenting. Organized Chaos came in at 5:36 this morning, followed by Denise, Jakey. Then we had Tessa from Orlando, Forgas, Evanlina, Lucius, Wayne, Francis from Melanie Damashana. Then we had Stefan, 14267, he said his number was. Como, 8218 from New Jersey. Pito from Queens. Dexter, Derek. Then we had Orin. Ether is here. Ulrich from Barbados. Colin from Queens. Gaston from Canada. Pauline is here. Jean, Rhonda Chance, Desiree, Emerson, Joseph, Queenie is here. Malcolm, I missed you a few weeks. Good to see you back in class. Then we had Brian is there. He said, well, you asked us a comment. You want us to comment on a particular subject. We'll do so. My brother. Magnell is here. Glendis, Sandra, Terrence from Canada. Raul came in at 8:36 this morning, followed by Bonita from West Coast East, followed by Randolph, Juna, 12538. I remember Juna very well. Both he and his twin brother, I remember. Clay Rose. Then we have Princess Earl from Lamar Springs, 6123. Philip is here. Everett from Texas. Floyd is in class. Colin. Anthony Bradshaw, he's from Petersall in the East Bank. Duan followed him, followed by Carville, followed by Melville, followed by Felisa, Carl from Arizona, Izzy, Clay, Pamela from the west side, Doreen from Canada, Lynette. Then we had Marcia, followed by Vibart from the East Bank. Terence Nubiset, Terence, good to see you. Then we have Clarence. Debbie again came in because she left and she came back. Gordon. Then we had Ukaren. Then we had also Samuel, Nigel, John, Orin from the UK, Morton, Charles. This is Charles Britton. He's a Barbies man. Roy from Schenectady, upstate New York. Bray. Mark says his number was 13963. And Malcolm, this is Malcolm Robinson. Marlin. Then we had Rohan, Ivan, Marcus, Junior, David, John, Inferno Boss, Yeson from Trinidad, Clifton from Paris, Grace, Wayne, Raymond says he's an ex-detective. Raymond says he's an ex-detective. TK from California, Leroy, Juliet. And then when we went live, the first person on Facebook was Edward, followed by Joyce, followed by Raul. Then he was followed by Joyce and Joan, and the list goes on and on. We go through this to let you know that when we tell you that these numbers are sitting there waiting, we run through, we call the name from the time we schedule up to 11. And when we go live at 11, the persons who come in. So yes, we can see record numbers in the schoolyard this morning waiting for us to go live. So let me make some announcements, quick announcements, and then we're going to go into we're going to bring in Mr. Conway, and we're going to go into the program. Let me remind those of you in America, today, April the 15th, is tax day. Today, April the 15th, you have up to midnight tonight to make sure that you file your taxes. And some debt, we announce these debts. We don't take any pleasure in doing so, but we want to bring you the information. We received word of the death of retired Inspector Nielsen Chan. His number was 6411. So he passed away at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation on Saturday. He's a Essequibo man, Essequibo Coast. And I remember Inspector Chan very well. I think at one stage he was at Timeri Police Station in charge. So he passed away over the weekend. And we have for the policemen, the older policemen will be familiar with this name. Wasn't the police? But if you walked in Barbies, you got to know him. I don't know how you describe him. If you describe him as a businessman, if you describe him as a whatever, lots of description. I'm referring to no other than Irish Sugrim. You knew him as Chinese. We either knew him or we knew of him. So Chinese passed away over the weekend. There's a lot of words, lots of words to describe Chinese, who was a well-known person in East Barbies in particular. I think he hailed from somewhere in Crabwood Creek side. But any police, especially officers who work there, we get to know or to get to know of Chinese, the character that was Chinese. Now, again, as we are into this, we still got to find out what is the position with this matter involving the death of Sergeant Vaughn. Up to now, we have more than anything. 1 month passed. The last we heard is that a file was sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions, and nothing else. He's buried and everything, and we are not hearing anything. But we'll keep asking the question. We will keep asking the question, what has happened to this matter where this sergeant was shot and killed, according to the police, accidentally by one of his colleagues, a constable, who they said was placed under close arrest. So is it that this man is still under close arrest 1 month and counting? The public needs to know. We should know, right? Because this is a very serious matter. Sure, his family and friends, all Guyanese, want to know what the circumstances which led to the death of the sergeant and what has been the position with the investigation. We want to know. Um, then they let me go on to say, well, we're going to come back to a famous death, but I'm going to bring in Mr. Conway for that because we are going to examine the implication for policing out of that. I'm referring to the death of O.J. Simpson. Now we're going to talk about it briefly a little later. And in terms of greetings, birthday greetings, we want to extend birthday greetings to Assistant Commissioner Budram. You celebrating a birthday today. He's assistant commissioner. So forget about this thing. What people talk about deputy commissioner and so on. There's no deputy commissioner now. Because the only one that you have is on pre-retirement leave. I think he has up to the end of this month. And then he's going to be off completely. So Assistant Commissioner Rabindranath Budram is celebrating a birthday today. Also celebrating a birthday today is retired Senior Superintendent Lyndon Isles. He was at one time the traffic chief. He's celebrating a birthday today. And we have also celebrating a birthday today is retired officer, I think he said Assistant Superintendent Patrick Mentor. And he came back in the force and he was the first head of the Strategic Planning Unit. So Patrick is celebrating a birthday today. And one of our students, Debbie Collins, she's also celebrating a birthday today. And to all those who are celebrating today, if your name wasn't mentioned, I want to say all the best and we wish you long life, happiness, health, and prosperity as you go forward. And then, as we said, you have to give thanks and praise to the Almighty for allowing you to see another birth date. Because you have one birthday, the day you're born, but the anniversaries, even though we call them birthday, there's really the birth date. And then you have belated birthday greetings to Senior Superintendent Michael Kingston. I think he's on the East Coast there now. He celebrated a birth anniversary yesterday, I think it was. And this morning, I learned of the birthday, the recent birthday, 80th birthday recently of Arlington Samuel, Sammy. Sammy was 7104. Sammy was one of our drill instructors when we were in training school, course 74. And then when I went to the TSU, we were all drill instructors there together. And then in 1977, we were sent to the GDF on the first drill instructors course. Sammy was a part of that bunch. I remember I was a youngster then, 21 or 22, something like that. And Sammy and them were much older because Sammy, as I've said, his number 7104, Arlington Samuel. So I want to wish all those persons who celebrated recently, who are celebrating today, all the best on your natal day. What other announcement do I have to make before I bring in Sammy? Well, Ulrich and the others, I know you're watching the cricket. I am watching. I have a iPad ahead of me, and I can follow the score. I can't turn on the audio, but I'm following the score. I enjoyed that innings from Travis Head, who blazed the 100 against RCB. RCB taking real licks this season, you know. RCB taking real licks this season. Right now, I see the score is 217. They are falling back because 217 in the 16th over, and they are going great guns. There is Sunrisers Hyderabad. But let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're going to move on. CC, welcome, my brother. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. And I always say, happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. Birthday greetings, yes, Neil Chan. I remember him. He was a F Division man. He worked at Porimo and Ettering Bang on the border locations. Arlington Samuels, Sammy, sorry that I missed your birthday, but belated birthday greetings. Congratulations to Patrick Mentor and Assistant Commissioner Bodram. And well, as Commando, and all of us who work in board beast will know about Chinese. And further, I say not. Let's move on.
Yeah, we'll all know of Chinese. We'll all know of him. But you know, the thing shows that no matter how much wealth you accumulate, and no matter how powerful you are or you think you are, we all have to go one day. And it brings me to the next issue. I alluded to it earlier, the recent death of O.J. Simpson. The trial, you know, O.J. Simpson was charged with murdering his former wife and her partner. That was way back in what 1994 or sometime around then. And that trial galvanized the whole world. I remember used to make sure that was must see TV live. It was live. The proceedings were live on the TV, and we got to see and hear everything that went on. I know we learned in the force as policemen, we used to discuss a specific part of that matter. It was not whether O.J. Simpson for us wasn't whether he was guilty, whether he killed his wife and her friend or not. What caught our attention was the manner in which the matter was presented, especially when it came to the defense. Remember, after the death, if I remember correctly, it was said that the gloves with what appeared to be blood was found somewhere, and they wanted to say that the glove belonged to O.J. Simpson. And Johnny Cochran, at the summing up, made a famous statement that if the glove does not fit, you must acquit. That was a famous statement made by Johnny Cochran, who was one of the lead lawyers for O.J. Simpson. But you know, in those days, 1994, or there about DNA had been in the thing that come out as part of the evidence, and the prosecution was using the DNA evidence to link the glove with the blood to OJ and perhaps the victims. And the defense, I remember this very well, did not seek to discredit the science, the DNA science. What they attacked was the manner in which the evidence was handled by the detective, the lead detective, I think it was Foreman or Freeman, something like that. His name was Foreman, the man said. The manner in which the evidence, the chain of custody of the evidence, because apparently at one stage it was revealed he had the evidence in his car over a prolonged period of time and all that. And they attacked that to discredit the Foreman, because they said too he had made racist statements and he was attacked. And again, the lesson was, and we have said it on this program, it's not whether you know the person committed the offense or not. That is not the issue when you go to court. When you get to court, is the evidence you can produce to support your contention that this person is guilty of the charge. The court wants to see evidence. So it's not what you believe. You can believe that the man did commit the offense, but how do you prove it in court? And this O.J. Simpson case was a classic example of you having to make sure, that's the people who are doing the prosecution, the police have to make sure that the evidence, the chain of custody of the evidence cannot be brought into question. Important. So we have cases with drugs, we have cases with firearm and other type of evidence. And the lesson to the police is to make sure that what you call chain of custody, from the time it is found to the time it is presented in court, what is the chain, to make sure that that cannot be unraveled. And that is why I learned, and we taught over the years, that you have to keep that chain as short as possible. Do not allow too many persons to get. If it's a drug case, the person who found the drug should be the person who took it for it to be analyzed. That should be the same person who uplifted it. That's the same person who has to present it in court. Keep it as short as possible. But from the time you get to the point where several persons handled, you are going to run into trouble when it comes to the custody, the chain of custody of that evidence. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, I'm sure you would have been galvanized as I was in that O.J. Simpson to learn. As policemen, we wanted to learn, and we followed it to see how the evidence was presented, how the defense attacked the evidence that was presented.
I was glued on to my television, for days and days and days. The trial of the century, and you use some correct words. The chain of custody. That's what they attack, and we've seen in numerous cases in Ghana where firearms are found. We find drugs and all sort of people Persons who don't even have anything to do with investigation, all of them handling it. All of them, multiple people handling it. So when you're going from the court, you have a whole set of discrepancies there. That the normal thing is the person who find the thing, as you mentioned, that's the person supposed to lodge it, carry it to make sure that you have analysis and uplift it. That in many times we lacking in I can't say can no longer remember the force. They are lacking in the Ghana police force in terms of chain of custody. They're breaking the chain, they're damaging the chain, and we say the strength of a chain is in its weakest link. And I always remember Johnny Cochran: if it can't fit, you have to acquit.
Yeah, that was a famous statement. If it cannot fit, in other words, they were saying that if the glove cannot fit O.J. Simpson, you have to quit, because basically they're saying that that was what Johnny Cochran was arguing, that the glove that you found with this blood stain or whatever did not belong to O.J. Simpson. They had attempted, of course, to use DNA to prove that the glove belongs to O.J. Simpson, and Johnny Cochran did what, well, somebody said, excellent job for a defense counsel. O.J. was acquitted. It divided the community, because some people felt that because the jury was dominated by what they call it, African Americans, they did not give a fair decision based on the evidence, and it was the place was, it was divided. Later on, I think the father of the deceased sued him in civil court and won. Father sued him in civil court and won. And later on, remember, he get arrested in some hotel for some larceny, some memorabilia. He tried to recover from someone, and he ended up. So OJ was famous, and then he became infamous, and now OJ is no more. OJ is dead. Well, as we say, um, in terms of that, may he rest in peace. For those of us who believe that the day he has to answer for his doings on earth. So whether he got off from man, the Christians will tell you, or other religions as well, he cannot get off from the Almighty. So yes. Now let me move on. There was to bring you up to date. Sometime last week we mentioned a shooting in Middle Road, La Penitence, where Clinton Chase, 70-year-old, was shot and killed. The first report said he was executed. That is the report that we got. The police issued a release on the 8th of April to say that, and basically, let me read, they said that 70-year-old unemployed resident of Lot 148 Middle Road, La Penitence, was discovered dead on the 7th of April around 10:30 p.m. on the northern parapet in front of his home. The investigation revealed that Clinton lived alone and had been deported from the USA over a decade ago. That is what police said in a statement. Well, let me go on. They said they visited the scene and they found marks of violence on his chest and his arm. That is what the police said. Whereas the first report had said it was one of those drive-by shooting. Police gave the impression, well, let us find him dead and so on. Well, we want to report to you that the postmortem examination revealed that he died from gunshot wounds, which says that the first report was more accurate than the release that the police gave. This man Chase died from gunshot wounds. Let me see where that will go. Some other follow-up. Um, somebody asked in the column, in the comments, what is the position with the matter involving the allegation that Colin Ikin, the son of the acting commissioner Clifton Ikin, is said to have discharged some unlicensed firearm in front of a bar in Kitty, in Alexander Street bar. I saw a social media clip where the person who owns the bar claims that this is not so, nothing like that never happened, and all of that. We want to know what is the position with that matter. It's a week gone. The police have not, to the best of my knowledge, issued any release in relation to the matter. All we know is that on social media, people are saying that when the inspector, because this is a security guard that held Colin Ikin by this bar, handed him over to the police inspector, police that took him and the unlicensed firearm to Kitty Police Station. And they're saying it is alleged that Colin Ikin dash a fine abusing on the inspector, made a telephone call. He was released on bail, and we haven't heard anything more about that. As I said, the owner of the bar came to say, oh, this thing never happened. So I have from very reliable sources, multiple, more than one, that the incident did occur. My sources have told me that the incident, that is to say, Colin Ikin fired a gun in the vicinity or at the bar and was arrested and taken to Kitty Police Station. My sources are telling me it did happen, and they too are waiting to see what will be the outcome of this matter. But we live in an animal farm where all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. George Orwell, Animal Farm. The next follow-up I want to tell you, and we're going to go into it if we have time a little later. We talk about the allegation that a senior police officer attempted to launder $16.5 million Guyana dollars through the police credit union. They're silent on that. The persons who were the credit union were removed. The person who resisted this illegal act were removed from the credit union. We have said that the credit union is under the laws of Guyana, is a financial institution. And even though those members or some of the members are serving members of the force, the police administration should not have the authority to remove them willy-nilly. That should come under the board of management. But the persons were removed. The latest information that I got, and I don't come and talk things just like that, credible information, is that what they call the book, the credit union book, belonging to this senior officer who is alleged to have attempted to launder this money, cannot be found. His credit union book cannot be found. So as I said before, if you don't take action, they're going to tamper with the evidence. And the chief co-op development officer who came out from under the rock to write letters to the Guyana Public Service Union Credit Union after the election, ordered by the court that they should not commence work until such time that he gets certain information. The court ruled that he had no authority to do so, right? I hope that he would come out back from under that rock and go and investigate this serious allegation that a police officer in the Guyana Police Force, a senior police officer, attempted to launder 16.5 million Guyana dollars through the credit union. Cash Guyana dollars, you take it cash, money laundering. And we aren't hearing anything about that as well. I'm going to continue to ask questions. I am going to continue to ask questions about that. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to make comments on those matters, and then we're going to move further on. CC?
Yeah, in relation to the money laundering, the attempt, I understand that they don't know all sort of things. Somebody say that they tear out a receipt from a book, but documents about the place, copies are available, so they could do all they want to do. And the chief co-op officer should take action. He should initiate action, but then was it freaking the police? In terms of the the incident where we said the extended squatters, and so far nothing coming forward to debunk the story. And if they want, somebody, they could do an investigation at the station. Was there a diary entry made? Was there an occurrence made? If they're saying that he was placed on bail, was any money lodged? I know Darm Lal been put on $1 million bail and they didn't lodge any money. And if money was lodged, could we have the GR? Could we have the collector's cash book statement? Could we have the bail book? Could we have the person's charge? And all those documents, you could check and see whether things did in fact happen. But saying they have not yet debunked the story, so persons will want to take it that that is true and it's happened. And I heard the inspector was a female too.
Well, you see, we getting more information as we go along. But I'm saying this. This is a serious allegation made against the son of the Commissioner of Police, acting, and it required some statement from the Police Corporate Communication Unit, Corporate Propaganda Unit, as I refer to them. should be, by now, they should have said something. This is over 1 week. They should have said, no, this incident did not occur. What is on social media is false. Or yes, it occurred, and this is what is happening. And the Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Ben, has a responsibility too, because this is a matter that affects an organization that he is supposed to be in charge of. And one would have expected that the minister would have either called on them to provide a report, an explanation as to what transpired. He should have done, he has the authority to do so. You're going to fire scene and tell firemen how to hold the fire. One would have also expected the Attorney General, even the President, to say something about this serious allegation about money laundering and the fact that the acting commissioner's son is alleged to have committed a crime, and it seems that nothing is happening until now, 1 week after. I would hope too that the matter that you mentioned earlier with the death of the sergeant, that they would have been asking questions. What is the position with this matter? A sergeant of police is killed, according to them, whilst on duty, accidentally by one of his colleagues. That is what they reported. And 1 month down the road, the man bury and all sort of thing, and we're not hearing a word from these people. And I would not be surprised if we didn't hear anything, because if we don't hear anything, because I remember the helicopter crash, the GDF helicopter crash way back, I think it was December sometime then. And until now, we haven't heard anything further on that. 2 survivors, not one of them has been made to give a statement to say exactly what transpired. So that is what we live in. And these same people, the same people come and they talk about transparency. They talk about transparency. Apparently, they don't know the meaning of that word, because if you are acting in a transparent manner, by now you would have had, even if it was a preliminary report on that helicopter crash, the death of the sergeant, would have heard something. Because the last thing they said, that the file was sent to the DPP for legal advice. At the same time, when the file with the special branch rounds, who shot 88 rounds at a police sergeant, right? They said both files were sent at and around the same time. We would have heard something more about it. These things are galling, because when the file was sent to the DPP, the file involving the Dharamlal allegation of rape, buggery, and grooming, within a jiffy, as we would say, she said, don't charge. She sent it back to the police for clarification, and then eventually she's reported to have said that there should be no charge. And we have to accept that, because until now, Dharamlal has not been charged. So that is what we talk about. And people come to tell you about transparency. It is corruption. It is corruption. It's part of a corrupt process involving the police, involving the DPP's chambers, involving all of those who are involved. And when we talk about corruption, let me understand, corruption doesn't mean that you have to take money to do something. You have corrupt intent without even taking money or taking some thing of value. So let's understand this. So I'm not saying in these cases some of them take money, but they corruptly dealt with the matter. And that is what we are waiting. I am going to keep talking. I'm going to keep calling out. And I will continue to do so. I will continue to do so. Let me move on. Let me say this. I'm smiling this morning, Monday morning, good morning. I'm smiling. So let me pause here to say, Ulrich and CC, I think they broke the record. Sunrisers Hyderabad just broke the IPL record, because the score now is 278. Well, they are doing a replay. I got to keep you guys informed, 278. They're in the 20th over now, 19.4 overs, and they have 278 runs. So the record's 284 for 3. That's it. Well, it's a white ball. So 285 for 3. Yeah, Kim, I will keep smiling. Now let me say this. There is a matter involving the extended squatter. I commented on this program before that this man is so incompetent that whatever is given to him by the people, he signs. He signs. Even the signature is signing wrong, but he signs, right? And as Larry Lewis taught us, Mr. Conway will tell you, when you put your signature to any document, everything above your signature you are responsible for. So recently, Mr. Conway and I have been speaking about this man in Barbies who is charged criminally for some sexual offense, and he's not been interdicted. He's still in the job. The name, let me give the name. I'll give the name. Aaron Sigobin, Corporal 621674. Aaron Sigobin. The story is that he is charged. Now, I guess following our criticism and comments on this program, they decided they are going to interdict him. The extended squatter belatedly decided this is a man committed an offense since last year. So they say in February of this year, they sent him an interdiction letter. Now the interdiction letter is joke. The interdiction letter is mere joke. I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to simultaneously put up the interdiction letter, and I'm going to read for you, student. This is what the letter there. This is the letter. Hear what it says. It goes to 21674 Aaron Sigobin, and for service by Commander Regional Police Division 6. The caption is re-interdiction from duty. It says the above caption refers, you can read if you can see it, thing. Pursuant to you being charged with one count of criminal offense to wit, sexual assault, contrary to section 41A I of the Sexual Offences Act, chapter 8:03, you're hereby interdicted from duty and placed on half pay with effect from, listen to this carefully, I underline it, with effect from the 31st of June, 2023. So I learned when I was going to school. The extended squatter, they say that he learned when he go to school that Guyana is 83 square miles. Well, I learned when I was going to school the days of the month, 30 days of September, April, June, and November, all the rest of 31 days, except February, which has 20. I can't help laughing. But the man say, yes, Leroy, with effect from June the 31st, 2023, pending the outcome of the said criminal charge, all powers conferred on you by virtue of your office of corporal are taken away completely. You are forbidden to wear uniform, exercise your office of corporal, and you are not permitted to enter any police station or compound except to make a report. And then the last paragraph that I circled here in blue says, your failure to attend court and to be available when summoned by the Guyana Police Force may result with you being deemed absent from duty and may have consequences flowing therefrom. Now this thing is bare joke. This I can't help laughing. Y'all forgive me. Y'all don't see this lighter side of me. But this thing is thing for no big thing. These satirical shows that we have from time to time. First, the man said that the effective date of the interdiction is the 31st day of June 2023. Well, I know June has 30 days, but that's how Guyana reduced from 83,000 square miles to 83. Perhaps the month of June in the police force is extended from 30 days to 31 days, right? So, and again, I say these things are not nitpicking. These things are important. This is the most senior law enforcement officer in Guyana signing a document, which is supposed to be a legal document, interdicting a rank who is charged with committing a criminal offense. And the man writes, or the man signs the document, which says that this thing is effective from a non-existent date, the 31st day of June 2023. 31st day of June 2023, it's there in black and white. You can't make these things up. And then the last paragraph says that if you fail to attend court, to be available when summoned by the Guyana Police Force may result in you being deemed absent from duty and may have consequences flowing therefrom. But let me say this. For the benefit of this man who I believe he can't learn, this is not a good statement to say about a fellow human being, but it is clear that the acting commissioner of police, Clifton Ikin, cannot learn, right? Because if he could, by now he would have known that force, once a rank is interdicted from duty, if the rank absent from court, that is not a police matter per se. If the rank is absent from court, the magistrate presiding over the matter has jurisdiction and they will determine how the matter is to be dealt with, issuing a warrant for his arrest and taken to court. So for them to tell this man that if you fail to attend the court, or when summoned by the Ghana Police Force, what are you going to summon him for, Ghana Police Force? He's interdicted. He has no obligation to report for, and he's going to be absent from duty. How can an interdicted rank be absent from duty? My Lord, what is it that we are having here? They're telling an interdicted rank that if he's absent from duty, it may result in you being absent. If he fails to attend court, he is absent from duty and may have consequences flowing therefrom. I don't know. I don't know. We try our best on this program, even though we do so in an unorthodox manner. We try our best to educate these people, but some of them are beyond being educated. They are so incompetent, but they are there because it is clear that the government likes incompetence. First of all, the man there has passed his retirement age, the mandatory retirement age. Obviously, the president likes this incompetence, so he allows him to continue. He allows him to continue beyond retirement age, and he has continued to display his gross incompetence, and they aren't doing anything. I suspect because they are just as or even more incompetent than he is. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to take a piece of this button. I want to break the record like Sunrisers Hyderabad. See, already tell me Sunrisers Hyderabad just break the CPL record. I don't want to break this record of exposing incompetence and corruption, incompetence.
Paul, I said several times that when you are incompetent and you try your incompetent best, you are still incompetent. And if you look at the letter, first thing, this man was charged since in June. 10 months ago, he was charged. And then I look at the offense that they mention here. Section 41AI or 141A1 of the, of the Sexual Offences Act, Chapter 803. I have the Sexual Offences Act here, and the Sexual Offences Act 2010 is Act number 7 of 2010. So we get Chapter 803, and here and he quote Sexual Offences Act, Section 41A1, and here it say a person, the accused in bracket, commits the offense of sexual offense if he the accused touches another person, the complainant, in a sexual way. That is in the Sexual Offences Act 2010 and not in Chapter 803. The law is specific. Some we get it from, and he can't say it's not me because his signature is there. And Larry Lewis will tell us that you are responsible for everything above your signature. You can't say the man in the mirror is not me. Or you can't be like Shaggy and say it wasn't me. Or you can't be like Michael Jackson, say Billie Jean is not my girl, Jade is not my son. Or you can't do like let me give him his correct explanation, the supreme legal influencer of the government of Guyana, when the CCJ cited him for bringing discredit to the CCJ, to bring it in disrepute, he said it is his information technology administrator. Well, I know who the squat is going to think, and then this matter had other implications, because when a man is charged, and if you're going to interdict it from June, I know you're going to interdict from the 31st of June, but let me say from June. he should be on half pay. So he get 10 months full pay. And apart from though, you get a one month bonus in December. So what gonna happen to all the money if he loses the case? I mean, if you win your case, you go back to the next time. But if he loses, what gonna happen with all of that? He should have been on half pay. Now we're up on full pay for 10 months. I don't know what's going on, but I'm making the point. When you're incompetent and you try your incompetent best, you are still incompetent.
Indeed. Let me answer a question here for one of the students, Carlton. Carlton is asking that if this man who is interdicted is called out in a case of emergency, whether he has to report. No, you first have to, remember when you interdict him, he has no powers. He's not a police once he received that letter. He has no police powers, and the letter says so. That all your powers in your office, whatever the office is, in this case, the office of corporal, is revoked for the time being. So it is that it says all powers conferred on you by virtue of your office of corporal are taken away completely. So you can't call him out just like that for any type of duty. You first have to go to the thing. He has to be reinstated. So Carlton, let me, for your information, whilst he remains interdicted, he has no power. That is what the letter says. He has no police power. If you want him to come back, you have to reinstate him into the force, and then his powers are then returned to him. So I hope I answer that question. Well, John, I agree with you. They might be deliberately representing, Don said they're deliberately misrepresenting the date, misquoting the law, and misquoting the police regulations. Because the 803 that they're charging under, that is the old sexual offenses law, the old thing. But as Mr. Conway pointed out, we have 2020, this new Sexual Offences Act, which is the act that is being used. But suddenly they decide that this man is going to be charged on the old Sexual Offences Act. And up to now, they cannot interdict him properly from duty. So you have a man who, for all intent, appears to be a sexual predator who is there working as a corporal in the division. And then these are the ones, they came after me so I could talk. They came after me with 3 sexual offenses charged where a female officer said I rubbed her leg during the course of a meeting. So that is still pending. So full disclosure. So the whole story is that the incompetence is glaring and they are not doing anything about it. But we move to the next matter. Let me move to the next one. So we hope they're listening. But let me say to them the way out. If you check the calendar for 2023, and then you recognize that June did not have 31 days, the thing to do is to cancel that letter, look in the same calendar to find which is the correct date, and then you reissue the interdiction letter. So that is the way to deal with that. You put a date that doesn't exist, and therefore you have to cancel it. Let me say it's due to inadvertence. You got to cancel it still, and then you reissue the letter. You could rescind it in the same manner that you rescinded the cancellation of the security service. You can do it in like manner. But let me move on. There's a video circulating on social media. I'm going to show the video to you first. It's about 6 minutes or something, so it will take some time. And then after that, we are going to analyze the relevant laws in this matter, because this is a very serious matter. So I want to show you this first, and then we are going to analyze it. So here goes. Let me find the video, and then we are going to deal with it. Where is it? This is it here. It's 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes. Here we go.
I am.
Moment.
I am heading into the drop off the staff from Federal Management System. I just pick up the staff and a police vehicle here. Let me get the license plate. Here. No, you can't conduct no search just like that on no vehicle. PAE 1761. PAE 1761. Who's the SO in charge of this? Who's the SO?
At this time, we're going to warn you
You
about
the sergeant?
exactly just what
Okay.
you're doing there.
Yeah.
Because at this point, if you video the police,
Yeah, I have the right to
you
video the
listen to what I'm
police.
saying,
Yeah.
you video the police,
Mm-hmm.
we don't know what you're going to do with the video. At that time, we could consider it a part of cybercrime.
No, it can't be cybercrime.
You understand what I'm saying?
I just identify myself to you. I'm a CPG member.
I understand what I'm saying.
I'm dropping home a staff. I just pick up the staff from federal, and I'm dropping home the staff. Yeah. Go ahead.
At this point, we need to carry out a search in a vehicle according to, along with the, well, we have to come out the vehicle. We need to
No, you can't search my vehicle just like that.
Secondly, we need you to produce all documents in the vehicle.
No, you can't. I can't produce all documents. The only document the police have authority to ask me for is my driver's license. And you cannot search. No, you cannot search my vehicle just like that.
Driver.
You cannot search my vehicle just like that.
As we're saying, we're looking. At this point, we can't search.
You can't search my vehicle just like that.
Guns, 16 ammunition.
Or you can't search my vehicle just like that. I'm saying you cannot search my vehicle just like that.
Understand what the police are saying?
I'm videoing you all the time.
Looking for anything illegal, which is guns, drugs.
So you
arrest you, comrade. Right?
arrest me just like that?
Comrade, you have to comply to the motor vehicle to be searched, comrade.
But the vehicle can be searched, but I'm saying you cannot search my vehicle just like that.
Comrade,
As we said just now, as I explained to you.
So just like that, you're just stopping me and searching me? Just like that?
So we stopping you
Maybe-
over what, 5 minutes?
Right, but I cannot know who is stopping me. How can I know who is stopping me?
So what caused you not to know who is stopping you?
Sir, we have so much situations where we had situations where
Yes.
a matter is engaging right now because of the same thing. Police in civilian clothing
Yes.
assaulted my brother in this very vehicle, and it's complained right now with the police complaint authority. Right now.
Just hold right here. Now the police that stopped you, they're not in uniform.
No, they weren't in
I
uniform.
am talking about now.
Well, I can't know that.
I
Y'all
am
was in the
speaking about
vehicle.
now.
But y'all were in the vehicle.
Now.
How can I know that?
The police have a certain amount of vehicles. It is marked clearly on the and they have beacon light.
But sir, you were
Now,
behind me.
Since the light went on till around the corner there, we were blowing the horn on you.
So that way you got annoyed about. That way y'all got annoyed
Listen
about.
to me. This having nothing to do with annoyed.
Yeah, y'all were basically annoyed. Call blame for me. Call on our system again.
Point is conducting police duties.
Yeah.
We like to search you in person for this.
No, you can't search me in person just like that. That's what I'm saying. Y'all just can't stop people just like that and search them.
Why?
No, the police doesn't have that authority.
Why?
You're supposed to have reasonable suspicion.
What makes you think that we don't have reasonable suspicion?
When you have reasonable suspicion, you're just driving behind me, and because I didn't stop, you want to search the vehicle now,
Well,
just like that.
Just what you said.
When I
just now,
identified myself to y'all by
what I'm
badge,
saying. Your badge
I'm a CPG member.
Your badge have nothing to do with it. You being a CPG member have nothing to do with also.
So
Now,
what? This
Just
is
as you
harassment.
said, if the police stopping you and you're not stopping, that is reason to stop you.
What is reason to stop me?
Because you were not stopping.
So how can I verify if it's the police? How can I know what's going on?
It's clear on the vehicle that my
But sir, you were behind me. The vehicle was behind me.
Subsequently, we were at the side of you.
That's when I pulled
We
over.
were at the side of you since the
Because I
starting of the
pulled
corner.
over. Because I pulled
So
over, make you
are
come to
good.
the
From
side of
that
me.
point, you still see is the police. You're making no sense. You
Sir,
are making no sense.
we had run-ins with the police, and like I said before, there is a matter engaging the police
The
complaint
matter
authority right now
engaging the
because of the
police.
same thing.
The matter
The same thing.
engaging. The matter engaging at the
Police complaint authority right now. The matter is engaging
have
right now.
nothing to do with now.
What you talking about? I cannot just stop just like that.
I'm saying to you, the matter that engaged there, it didn't have nothing to do with now. Now is a different story.
So
You're
why
making no sense.
But so the police is making sense. But the police have to have reasonable suspicion to do that.
As I explained to you.
So you trying to stop me because I didn't stop when you wanted me to stop. You got annoyed at me. You got annoyed.
What annoyed you talking about?
You got annoyed because I didn't stop,
No,
and then
are
you're
you-
coming out drawing gun at me.
What gun draw?
What good that guy that rank of gun draw? That rank of a gun draw too? That rank of a gun draw too? Both of your rank of gun drawn.
At this point, you're making no sense.
So y'all have gun drawns at me.
If the police have a firearm, they have to come out with it.
Yeah, but y'all can't draw it at me. Y'all draw it at me.
How the police
The
draw
police,
it
what
at
the
you?
police got the firearm in his hand?
How he draw it at you?
But he have it in his hand.
How he draw it at you?
I mean,
You
how he
know
draw
his
it at me?
Draw is pointing it at you.
No, it's a point. Draw, you can draw and have it in your
You're
hand.
making no sense. Just subject yourself to search, driver. Are you making no sense? You're making no sense. Just put down your phone and touch the vehicles. Put down your phone, driver.
Hold on, can you give me?
Folks, you saw that video there. That thing is so disturbing. It is so disturbing that I feel compelled to address this matter. And the reason why we are going to address this matter, because there are at least there is one court ruling on this matter. There's a court ruling on this matter way back in 2013, which tells you about the circumstances under which the police can stop, search, and detain a vehicle. And based on what is contained in this video, let me say this from the beginning, the police wrong all over. First of all, the sergeant, I think it was the sergeant who is telling this man who videoing that if he videos the police, that can amount to a cyber crime. A sergeant of police, you know, I'm telling you, is telling this man this. And I suspect that the ranks who he has there with him are junior to him. So obviously they might believe that what the sergeant is saying makes sense. But the man who claims to be the community policing man, the CPG man, is making a better case than the police are doing. This thing is very, very disturbing. And let me, before I bring in Mr. Conway, I need to read a newspaper article which dealt with a similar matter way back in 2013, I think it was. Yeah, 2013. It's a little long read, so y'all bear with me. But I believe it is important for me to go through this. This matter says, in a groundbreaking High Court ruling, and a judgment of over $2 million may very well see the Guyana Police Force revisiting the manner in which they conduct business on the roadway or on the roadways. The judgment on October the 31st, that is 2023, by Justice William Ramlal is also likely to raise the debate over the powers of the police ranks to stop and search vehicles. There have been numerous complaints by vehicle owners of harassment by police at roadblocks. The lawsuit, which was filed on October the 24th, 2006, by then Attorney at Law Navendra Singh against Police Constable Benjamin and Sergeant James and the Attorney General, accused the police of assault, malicious arrest, false imprisonment, and malicious prosecution. Singh took the stand during the 7-day trial, during the 7-year trial of the action, but was not cross-examined by the defense. According to the judgment by Justice Ramlal, prior to the trial, the Attorney General had moved to settle the matter for $500,000, but this was not accepted by Singh and his lawyer. The judgment is even more significant as the plaintiff, Navendra Singh, is now also a judge in the High Court. The judgment against the police ranks and the Attorney General was in the sum of $1,777,700 for general damages, $300 as special damages together with interest awarded on both sums at a rate of 6% per annum from October 2006 to October 2013. After that, at a rate of 4% per annum until the entire judgment sum is fully paid. Costs were also awarded to the plaintiff in the sum of $150,000. The computation by Judge Ramlal were detailed and cited several cases taking into account inflation and exchange rates. In his claim, Singh said he was an attorney at law practicing practicing on May 19, 2006. He was driving his car along Charlotte Street, Georgetown, when he was stopped at the edge of the road. When he stopped at the edge of the road after his engine light started flashing, indicating something was wrong. Singh said that before he could have spoken to his mechanic, a police vehicle pulled up alongside with Police Constable James telling him that the car was obstructing the free flow of traffic. The plaintiff said that he drove to another street, Crow Street, and parked in a corner when the same police vehicle pulled up in front of him at a 45-degree angle. According to the plaintiff, he was directed to exit his vehicle, and upon inquiring, he was told that the ranks wanted to search it. And the quote him here, I then asked him what was his probable cause for such a search. By this time, the number 2 defendant, James, was standing next to my driver's side door with his rifle pointed at me. James pointed the rifle at me and said, "This is all the reason I need." I, at that point, demanded identification from the police. James asked, "You want that? Come out of your vehicle." No. The lawyer said that fearing for his life, he exited the vehicle. I was then grabbed by my shoulder from the back by the number 1 defendant, Benjamin, and thrown against the right fender of my vehicle. Benjamin entered my vehicle through the right front door, rummaged through my papers, and exited through the same door, exited through the same way, and then went and he spoke to James. The number 2 defendant came to me and informed me that he was placing me under arrest and I should drive my vehicle to Brigdam Police Station. At Brigdam Police Station, Singh said that he refused to give a statement when asked. After refusing to give the statement, Singh said that he was told by Sergeant Dame that he may well have to spend the night at the station. His car keys were taken, with the police saying that another search of the vehicle will be made again. He was not allowed to be present at the search. Some 30 minutes later, he was told that his vehicle fitness had expired. About 17 hours, 3 hours after his arrest, Singh said he was moved to the inquiry's office, where he was informed that charges will be laid. He was placed on $5,000 bail and told to appear before the magistrate court on 11th of May 2006. The police kept his vehicle until the next day. In court, Singh pleaded not guilty to the 4 charges, which is uncertified motor vehicle, dangerous driving, indecent language, and negligently interrupting the free flow of traffic. About one month later, all the charges were dismissed at the no case submission stage. Singh claimed by this time he had spent about $300,000 in lawyer's fee. This is in addition to the 4 hours in police custody. According to Justice Ramlal, it was significant the defense failed to cross-examine the plaintiff, and in so doing allowed the court to determine that the events as claimed were the truth. In the judgment, the court said that its research of the Police Act found that ranks may also stop, search, and detain any person who may be reasonably suspected of having or conveying in any manner anything stolen or unlawfully obtained. The instances must contemplate a situation where the offense has already been committed. Let me read that back. The instances must contemplate a situation where the offense has already been committed. Then the justice quoted here saying, let me say at the outset, the police have no power to stop, search, and arrest and detain any citizen under Section 17 or Section 19 unless he has reasonable grounds for suspicion that he will find stolen or prohibited articles, or that he has reasonable grounds to suspect that a person whom he reasonably suspected as having committed an indictable offense will be found, or that any person has committed a summary or indictable offense in his view or presence, or that he has credible and reliable information that someone from someone that a person has committed a summary or indictable offense. It goes on. The court was critical that one of the charges negligently interrupted the free flow of traffic was not even provided for in the particular regulation that it was filed. Rather, the regulation had to do with overall length of trailers. The court judgment suggests that the police may have been untruthful when it said that the liar's car was blocking traffic, as the statement suggests otherwise. The court also questioned how the police ranks moved from traffic offense to searching for guns and ammunition. And the court here is saying this was about the police exhibiting the police exhibition of powers with utmost disregard for the plaintiff's fundamental rights. This likewise strengthens the malice with which the police exercise their powers. The stop, search, and arrest of the plaintiff on the purported grounds of searching for drugs, guns, and ammunition violates not only the Constitution but also the Firearms Act, Chapter 16:05. The court also questioned whether the police were empowered to search for guns and ammunition, as the law says that a policeman not below the rank of inspector has to be present when such a search is being conducted. Regarding the claims that one of the police ranks, when questioned about probable cause by the lawyer, pointed his rifle at the plaintiff and indicated that that was all the reason needed, the court was even more stern. The judge here now again is saying, this I find was obnoxious, outrageous, and an outright abuse of police powers by James. Further to this, the plaintiff asked the number 2 defendant for his identification, and the number 2 defendant said, "You want dead? Come out of your vehicle." This is an open threat to the life of the plaintiff. The fact that other police ranks were present at Brigdown Police Station when the rights of the plaintiff were being violated makes them guilty as defendants, Justice Ramlal said. The court found that ranks were not charged with traffic duties, but with responsibilities to enforce the law as it relates to drugs and ammunition and related offense. It is clear that the number 1 and number 2 defendants, as well as the other ranks present, were acting outside the scope of their duty they were charged with. Neither the number 1 and number 2 defendants had any reasonable suspicion that the plaintiff had committed in their presence any drug, firearm, or ammunition-related offense. With respect to the charge of obstruction, the judge made it clear that it is not an arrestable offense, nor is it one punishable by imprisonment. Even if this offense took place, the police have no authority at law to search and arrest for obstruction of traffic. The court believed that there was an element of malice in the police's handling and the charges that were later laid, dismissed, and not contested in the civil action. And then the judge goes on to say, even the fact that the liar may have been driving an uncertified motor vehicle could not justify the stop on Charlotte Street, much less justify the search and arrest on Cole Street. This must be so, since there could be no reasonable suspicion on grounds or to suspect the commission of this offense at Charlotte Street or Crowell Street. Therefore, the police could not have stopped, search, and arrest the plaintiff for this reason. Further, driving an uncertified vehicle or obstruction of traffic are not arrestable offenses. Justice Ramlal in his judgment said, the law only obligates a person to give his name and address and produce his driver's license for examination. Rather, for offenses, there should be summonses. There should be summons or issuance of tickets, rather than arbitrarily search and deprive a person of his liberty, both of which will be violation of the Constitution, as well as violation of the person's fundamental rights as guaranteed by Article 138 to 153, inclusive of the Constitution. Ramlal was also highly critical that the resultant search and arrest was an outrageous abuse of police power and resulting in the plaintiff being falsely imprisoned for about 4 hours. He says, it follows, therefore, that the stop, search, arrest, and detention of the plaintiff were wrong, unlawful, and unconstitutional. The police rank must have known, or at least ought to have known, that their conduct was unlawful and unconstitutional. Justice Ramlal said that the conduct of the policemen were wholly unacceptable and renders them incapable of discharging their functions as members of the Ghana Police Force in a manner acceptable to the public. Secondly, it is not fair to the taxpayers of this country to foot the bill for the excesses of policemen of the ilk of James and Benjamin. The time has come for the Commissioner of Police and the Police Service Commission to take the necessary action to weed out these types of policemen from the Ghana Police Force. The Attorney General, the judge said, should move to recover monies awarded by putting in place systems to surcharge the policemen the amounts. He's quoted there saying, it is only when this happens one would see any significant reduction in the incidence of such unlawful, unconstitutional, and downright outrageous conduct of policemen of the ilk of James and Benjamin. A long read, but I thought it was important and necessary for me to read this case, which is precedent. Similar story. The judge made it clear, and as the person was saying, that the police can't just stop and search a vehicle like that. You have to have reasonable suspicion. And let me say this for the benefit of the policemen who are watching this program. The suspicion has to be reasonable, and it has to be before you attempt to stop. You can't stop and then you say suspect guns and ammunition. The law is clear. And before I bring in Mr. Conway, let me put up the law here, and I'm going to bring him in. This is Section 18 of the Police Act, Chapter 1601. And here what it says. Any member of the force may stop, search, and detain any aircraft, vessel, or vehicle in or upon which there shall be reason to suspect that anything stolen or unlawfully obtained, or that any person suspected of having committed an indictable offense may be found. And he may also stop, search, and detain any person who may be reasonably suspected of having or conveying in any manner anything stolen or unlawfully obtained. That is what the law is. You have to have reasonable suspicion. You can't just see a vehicle and decide, well, I can stop. What is the reasonable suspicion? That is the question to be asked. What is the reasonable suspicion? In this case, they had none. They had none. And therefore, if you have no reasonable suspicion, the action is unconstitutional. The action is unlawful. I know it is sad because, as I've said, in this case, way back in 2013, I remember well, I had just left the force. And I said that the administration of the force would have used this case law as training for the ranks, especially those who are on duty on the road, patrol duty, and all members, but especially those, so they can know the circumstances under which they can stop, search a vehicle. It is absolutely clear that the ranks do not know what the powers are. They believe that because they have the uniform on, they have unfettered power to violate the rights of civilians. But it doesn't start, it is not with the sergeant or the constable. Even the man who sits there as the acting commissioner of police has been violating the Constitution. He has been arbitrarily and unconstitutionally dismissing ranks, and nothing is being done. So when you see the junior ranks violate the right of members of the public in this manner, you cannot be surprised. You should not be surprised. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, this matter to me is such a disturbing matter. When I read it, I thought one, let the members of the force, the junior rank, because apparently they don't teach them these things now, know that they do not have unfettered power. And I would encourage them. The force administration should go to the court and get a copy of this judgment from Justice Ramlal, who is now the complaints authority. They should go and get it, and it should be part of the training. It should be part of the training at all levels, because we see these type of violations at all levels. My brother, what do you say about this?
I know the ruling very well, and I know after the ruling they had some instruction classes to deal with it. but history has been repeating itself. I show on a daily basis the same kind of thing happening. Look at the video that you presented there. Same similar facts, same thing happening all the time. And for the sake of emphasis, because I think it is of extreme importance, those who must have missed it, let me read it to you, the last. Any member force may stop, search, and detain any aircraft, vessel, or vehicle in upon which there shall be reason to suspect that anything stolen or unlawfully obtained, or that persons suspected of having committed an indebted offense may be found. And he may also stop, search, and detain any person who he may be reasonably suspected of having or conveying in any manner anything stolen or unlawfully obtained. Operative words there: reasonable suspicion. A reasonable suspicion. I heard about probable cause. Probable cause is really the American way of doing things. I studied a bit of American law. I remember when I was the FBI, I did legal issues for commandos, and they talk about probable cause. Now we talk about reasonable suspicion. That before the search, you have to get a reasonable suspicion. But someone else tried to circumvent it, and like I said, they're acting on information received. But you could prove that reasonable suspicion that things stolen or unlawfully obtained, and you or somebody suspect of having committed an indictable offense may be found, or that person may be reasonably suspect of having conveyed or you conveyed in any manner anything stolen or unlawfully obtained. You have to get the reasonable suspicion. And then guess what? And even when you stop the person, you must tell them you can't go now that you're searching for arms and ammunition and drugs. There's a normal thing going on there. You stop a man, yeah, you be checking for arms and ammunition and drugs. And any good liar will go to court and suppress that evidence because it will say that it was the forbidden fruit of the poisonous tree. You know, the thing is belong to reasonable suspicion. You can't just stop a car just and then you want to search. No way. No way. If you suspect that persons are conveying things stolen or unlawfully obtained, or person commit some indictable offense, be there, or person are conveying things stolen or unlawfully obtained, it is there. And as you mentioned, Paul, it's high time, based on what is happening, that is start whole training sessions to dealing with power to stop, search, and detain, unless it will continue to happen. And then with the same case, the state didn't appeal, The state, take it in good state, the state did not appeal that case. I was wondering one time, why the state don't appeal, and test the water and see whether Justice Rambler was correct or not. But they didn't. They chuck in, and that was it. So the thing is reasonable suspicion.
You have to have reasonable suspicion. And the man commented here that reasonable suspicion is something subjective. No, I don't agree with that. It's not something subjective. Reasonable suspicion has to arise based on objective facts. You saw the person did something, or you saw something. Objective facts will lead to reasonable suspicion. Let me give you an example. For example, when we deal with traffic offense, you want to breathalyze a person, reasonable suspicion. The man went through the light. The man driving in a zigzag manner. That is not subjective. Those are objective facts, and that would have led you to reasonably suspect that the person is driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Traffic. Coming to the other matters, like this matter, for example, again, you have to have objective facts. These people driving, maybe they did something that caused you to suspect. You can't just say here, stop just like that. They have to have done something which caused you to suspect. So to say that reasonable suspicion is subjective, that is not necessarily so. It has to be based on objective, justifiable facts. And the law and all is stupid, even though they say the law is an ass, because if it were not so, then anybody can say, oh, I come up with some excuse, any police will come up with some excuse. But the law is saying that you have to understand that you, and the suspicion, this reasonable suspicion must arise before the stop. Before the stop. So let's understand it. It has to arrive. You can't then stop the vehicle, and then when you see something, then you suspect. So what caused you to stop the vehicle in the first place? There was no reasonable suspicion. You have to have, and these are things that should be taught to the police ranks. The suspicion, this reasonable suspicion, must be there before the intervention. You can't intervene. For example, in the case by Justice Ramlal, after the intervention, they discover that some certificate or something might have expired after the stop. So that doesn't give you the right to, you had no suspicion because you could not have known that before you stopped the vehicle. You could not have. And he pointed out too, you're stopping, as in the case of the video we show, they want to search the vehicle. Why you want to search the vehicle? What authority you have to search the vehicle, to even stop the vehicle? This is a problem that exists. Somebody commented here to say a large percentage of the stops made by members of the Guyana Police Force are illegal. I concur, and I say that this matter, along with the judgment of William Ramlal, should be, the judgment should be acquired, the written judgment should be acquired. They have a lot of people who are legally trained within the force and outside the force, in the DPP's chambers, in the Attorney General office. They should analyze this thing and let policemen know. Because in some cases, you can't blame the ranks, because they are not taught. As in this case, you have a sergeant of police, or at least a man who wears a street stripe. And remember, we just make distinction between a sergeant and a man who wears street stripe, because a sergeant in our days is a man who knew the job. And a man who wears street stripe is just a man who wearing the street stripe. He doesn't necessarily know the job. So a sergeant telling a member of the public that if he records him on his cell phone, that will amount to cybercrime. Outrageous statement. It's an outrageous statement to say that a man who taking a video, and the man insisted he has a right to take a video. And again, this is a matter that came up some time ago. Ruling made. I remember we had a similar matter. I think it was Purika some time ago with this journalist and playwright that we have. And these matters came to our attention and they were ventilated. You have SOPs to deal with these things. And 2024, you have retrogressed to such a state that these things can continue to happen. And let me say there's some statement made here by the judge in this matter. And the judge made it clear. He said it is not fair for taxpayers, because when people sue, they go to court and they win, as in the case of Justice Singh, as the case of Tamika Clark, and in so many other cases, is the taxpayers got to pay. Because when the judge awarded $2 million to Justice Singh with costs and all of that, and the Chief Justice had awarded $700,000 to the lawyer who's now the magistrate, Tamika Clark, is the taxpayers got to pay. And he said it is not fair for taxpayers to foot the bill for the excesses of policemen. The time has come for the Commissioner of Police and the Police Service Commission, as he said, to weed out the type of people. And he says that the Attorney General, should move to recover monies awarded by putting into place systems to surcharge the policemen the amounts. It is only when this happens, one would see a significant reduction in the incidence of such unlawful, unconstitutional, and downright outrageous conduct by policemen. And I agree, we have said it here before, that they don't pay. As a matter of fact, in the case of Tamika Clark, the lawyer who was arrested, the person who was responsible, Superintendent Krishandat Ramana, the man was promoted. The man is now a police divisional commander of divisional command 4B with headquarters of Diamond and the East Bank. So these outrageous conducts will continue. They will continue. We made the point about the acting commissioner dismissing people arbitrarily, and the Attorney General know because he commented on it in the public that these matters are coming before them and they have to pay out large sums of money because the police would have acted unlawfully, unconstitutionally, and they're not doing anything about it. They have not done, and they are not doing anything about it. So it will continue. Another statement he made it clear about tickets. This is something that has been continued to go on as well, where for the slightest traffic offense, ticketable offenses, persons are stopped, and then they're instructed by the police to drive to the station. It is wrong. It is wrong, especially in these days. I say so, especially in these days, because I used to be the traffic chief many years ago. And full disclosure, during my tenure, it used to happen. During my tenure, it used to happen. But I would, and that is all 20-something years ago, but I would have thought that by now, with all the rulings and all the case laws, that steps would have been taken to stop these things. Because people are more litigious now. Back in the day, people didn't carry the police to the court. But now it is happening, these matters are happening with such alarming frequency that it is time that the police issue strict orders and make sure that it can be complied. Because I recall when the Silal Prasad was Commissioner of Police, Clement Roy was the Minister of Home Affairs, the records are there. They issued public statements saying that policemen should not be engaged in this type of thing, stopping vehicle willy-nilly, randomly. They issued statement in the media, and it continues, and they seem to have been powerless to do anything about it. So no wonder it has continued until the day like today, because proper action is not being taken. And we have said this. One of the reasons, well, in many cases, is the breach of discipline, because the commissioner issues an order and you fail to carry it out, you can be issued under Section 4Y of the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 17:01. Nothing has happened. And the reason why people are not being disciplined is because many of the policemen, officers I'm referring to at this stage, don't know how to conduct disciplinary inquiry, don't know how to investigate allegations of disciplinary breaches. And that is a collapse in the system. Do a survey, Minister Ben. Do a survey and find out how many officers, what type of officers, what type of gazetted officers can conduct an inquiry, a disciplinary inquiry. Find out, and it may alarm you to know that a large majority of them, and what has happened since because of that, they turn a blind eye to all these disciplinary breaches. Even in cases, they're quick to tell you that the Office of Professional Responsibility will investigate. Even when the Office of Professional Responsibility investigate and recommend disciplinary charges, oftentimes nothing happens. Even when matters are referred to the Director of Public Prosecutions and disciplinary charges are recommended, nothing happens. I did the research when I was at the Police Service Commission. I did the research, and the evidence is there, but they are not doing anything with it. Some other statements made by the judge. The judge made it clear that he said that even if the lawyer, as we said, even if the lawyer may have been up driving an uncertified motor vehicle, that could not justify a stop on Charlotte Street, much less a search and arrest on Crowell Street. This must be so, since there could be no reasonable suspicion. There could be no reasonable suspicion or grounds to suspect the commission of offense on Charlotte Street. That's the first place where this thing happened. Could not have been any reasonable suspicion. And in this instant matter, what caused the policemen to suspect something, to give them the authority to stop this vehicle? That's the thing. And the driver insists, you can't search my vehicle just like that. And he is correct. You can't search the vehicle just like that. You have to give reasons why you want. And to say that you're searching for guns and ammunition and drugs, that's not reason. That is not legal and reason for you to want to search the vehicle. As I say, first, you have to have reasonable cause to stop the vehicle. And as Mr. Conway said, If you don't have a reasonable cause, so stop the vehicle. It is what the Americans or people will say is the fruit of the poison tree. So if the tree is poisoned, that is a stop. Everything that flowed therefrom is also poisonous. These are concepts that must be taught to policemen. These are concepts that must be taught. The fruit of the poison tree. If the initial act is illegal, then everything that flows therefrom illegal as well. Let me bring in back Mr. Conway to talk some more about the same. We got to talk a lot about this. Go, Mr. Conway.
Yeah, the key question or the vex question is that the searcher or the person, the policeman got to answer is, what caused you to reasonably suspect that anything stolen or unlawfully obtained, or that any person suspected of committed an indictable offense may be found, or persons conveying any in any manner anything stolen or unlawfully obtained? That is the key question. What caused you to reasonably suspect? And then again, you gotta put the allegation to the person. A person must be told in simple language, in language that he understand, and in detail, what is it you are investigating. Don't say arms and ammunition. That can't hold the water. The person must tell the person in clear language, in language that he understand, and in detail, and that is in the Constitution. So apart from breaching the Police Act, you're breaching the Constitution also, which is the supreme body. And as you mentioned, Paul, it is high time, because these things are happening continuously every day. Something happening, that they need to have classes, they need to have training sessions to enlighten persons. Because you had a man wearing three stripe and he know the law, and he talking about cybercrime because I take a photograph. I committing cybercrime. No, 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 no. This is serious. This is critical, because you're trampling on the constitutional rights of citizens, and this must stop. And the police must take corrective action.
Indeed, they must take correct. The police administration must take corrective action. The government must take corrective action. Very important. The government must take corrective action. The Home Affairs Minister, Robeson Ben, who seems to be comatose, should and to give policy directions. Policy, not operational issues, like he telling firemen how to out fire, put the fire at put the hose at the source of the fire. You should have a policy direction on this matter. Policy direction, which you are legally obligated to do. The Attorney General, as the chief legal advisor to the government, should get involved, because as was pointed out, when people sue and they win, invariably they will, because it's a gross, egregious violation of persons' rights. Once they sue, they are going to win. And when they win, the taxpayers like you and I are saddled with the burden. We have to pay. And that is why we as taxpayers must make our voices heard, because it's we put in the bill, and the judge, Ramlal, had recommended that policemen should be surcharged when they commit these acts, these violations of persons' constitutional rights. They should have a mechanism to have them surcharged. There's no such mechanism. Long ago, when I joined the force, and for some time after, you had a situation where drivers in the police force, if they got involved in an accident and it was proven that they were wrong, right? They were surcharged. They were surcharged for I think it was a percentage of the cost to repair the vehicle. They were surcharged, but all of those things have gone through the window now. So policemen operate with impunity. They damage vehicle, they violate people's rights, even their own colleagues' rights. They violate. Look at what they did to Bascom. Look at what they did to Bascom. a man who was, by all account, is a whistleblower. Look at what they did. Cybercrime charge. I heard they go in the court and tell a pack of lies and all this type of thing. Look at what they're doing. But people say, God don't sleep. God don't sleep. He don't wear pajamas. And these things are going to come back to haunt all of these people. All of these violations of persons' rights, including their own policemen, abused by senior officers. And let me say this. As a senior officer in the force, as a former senior officer, sometimes you get to the point where there's such an act, you blow your top, you buck up a man, you even use some unprofessional language against them. But in my case, you never bore any malice. You got to buck them up, because they did something wrong. You buck them up. But now, people getting buck up, people getting move around, officers abusing persons in the presence of civilians and the presence of junior ranks, and people are afraid to speak out. People are afraid to talk about it because why? They're afraid victimization. So you talk, as a saying will go, you talk up for your rights, you get transferred. You talk to some far place, you are victimized. And that is why some people decide to suck up and stay humble and not say anything about the abuses that they are receiving. Continuously. You have some, because one of the things you have a lot of officers who are in position, they don't know the job. Commanders I'm referring to, and other senior officers, they don't know the job. So when they give certain instructions, they believe that because they are senior, these instructions will be carried out without any question. There is a letter, I think it was yesterday's paper. I think it was in yesterday's paper, where the man speaking about the same thing. Somebody wrote a beautiful letter about the same thing, about orders, to say and to remind you, as we have done repeatedly, that you cannot be compelled to carry out an unlawful order. So if an order is given to you and you know that the order is unlawful, nobody can compel you. This was a rule in Nuremberg back in the 1940s, when the Nazi war criminals were tried and convicted. Some of them were executed because the excuse they gave, almost to a man, was that they were only carrying out orders, when they were alleged to have executed all of those Jews, millions of Jews. They said they were carrying out orders. And the court ruled that you cannot be compelled to carry out an unlawful order. And if the order is unlawful, you ought to resist that. And they further said that if you were to carry out an unlawful order, you cannot use the fact that it was given to you by your superior, and therefore you are compelled to do so. That is what I told Minister of Home Affairs Gadraj back in 2003, when he was ordering me to return the firearm to the Laminate man. I told him the matter had not reached the stage for that to be done. And then he says he's ordering me. I said, well, you don't have any authority to order me, because, first of all, you're not a member of the force. You should not even be speaking to me. If you have an issue, you should speak to the commissioner, not to me as a divisional commander. And I told him plainly that the order was unlawful. I know he tell me the old soldier thing he used on me, said, well, you must comply and then complain. I said, no, the order is unlawful and I'm not going to carry it out. I'm not going to carry out an unlawful order and then complain after, because I'm still responsible if you carry it out. So the ranks must know this. The ranks must know this. You can't come to say, well, the commissioner told you to do so. Commissioner tell you going to shoot a man, you're going to shoot him, and then you're going to tell people, say, well, it's an order you get from the commissioner. The court is going to commit you. The court is going to convict you. So let's understand this very, very clearly. See, I want to move on, but it's what? It's 1 hour and 45 minutes already. We had promised that we would have dealt with this issue. Perhaps we can start. I don't know what you think. If we can start.
I think we can left. It will be extensive,
Yes.
I think we can left it for
it
Wednesday.
will be extensive, folks. We're referring to the matter that we said we would have discussed this morning, where the police force issued a statement, or a statement was made by someone in the police force, I suspect on behalf of the police force, that they're doing away with promotion exams. And a lot of issues were raised in that statement that we feel it's important to bring to attention. However, as Mr. Conway just said, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. And we just have a few minutes more, and we don't want to shortchange you. So we're going to just whet your appetite by saying that when we return on Wednesday, God's willing, we are going to have that as the opening item, unless something dramatic occurs between now and then. We intend to have that as the major item. But we felt that having regard, because there's another video circulating too, with an officer telling a person that they want to profile. He wants to profile them. I don't know where these people or when they have gone so wrong. This is a police gazetted officer telling a man that he wants to take him to the station to have him profiled. How can you say that? How can you say that? The commander of Regional 6, Chief Prasad Bakas, made a similar statement to is alleged to have made a similar statement to the Stabrook News that they are profiling that was in the I think it was the Gaisuko strike matter, when they had those cane cutters there half naked, and then he said they got to profile the persons. A senior officer in charge of a police division is making an outrageous statement like that. You have a police officer, gazetted officer, is making the statement again about profiling. These things have to be taught to the ranks, and they're doing that, and they're getting away with it. That is why we have not seen any end to this type of outrageous behavior. Yeah, so we're going to go into that on the next program. We don't want to start it here now. I left you left you midway. We don't want to leave you midway. We want where we start, we must have enough time to finish it. But there are a few small things. Let me check my notes. There are a few small things. Some time ago, this place, the place that I call Guyana, is not a real place. Remember the story about Mark Vera, where the police get advised to charge him for serious offense. Something occurred at Timeri Circuit. That is some time ago, months ago. Then he went to the police complaints authority to complain that he wasn't satisfied in the manner in which the matter was investigated. What happened to the matter? Up to now, we're not hearing anything more about that matter. And we made a statement then, that if a charge or charges were recommended by the Director of Public Prosecutions, the police had a legal responsibility to institute those charges. The fact that Vera had gone to the police complaints authority to make a complaint, being dissatisfied in the manner the matter was investigated, that should not prevent the police from proceeding. The only way you're going to stop the process is if the DPP recalls the file or something like that and instructs that you should not continue with the matter until further guidance. But that's where we live, the place where we live, this animal farm. Man, investigation is done. The file is sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions. The Constitutional Authority recommends charges. The person is not satisfied in the manner the investigation was done. So they go to the Police Complaints Authority to file a complaint against the police to complain again about the manner in which the matter was investigation. That cannot stop the charges from going ahead. Even the Police Complaints Authority does not have the authority to tell you not to proceed with the charge or the charges recommended by the DPP. So we're not hearing anything about that matter. We're not hearing anything further about that matter. And as I say, money talks and bullshit walks. So that is what, I don't know the circumstances. I'm not saying people get paid or anything like that. But I'm saying the fact that we have not heard anything about that matter, it is disturbing. The fact that the matter involving the businessman who was found or who is alleged to have been found with, the woman in the car had a firearm in the bag, and she said the businessman put the firearm in the bag, and the businessman, according to the police, admitted to putting the firearm in the bag. The matter, they said, went to the DPP. And as we said last week, information is Jackie Opel came to the dance. You got to pay. Jackie Opel came to the dance. Some sums of monies are mentioned, and we're not hearing anything further about it. That's a matter at Regional Division 4B, Diamond, where Ramana is in charge. We're not hearing anything about those matters. And unless you keep asking questions, unless you keep raising it, you're not going to hear anything. And then the next thing you know, the matter done. Just like that. Animal farm. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. That is what you have, and that is what is lending to the atmosphere of lawlessness. Atmosphere of lawlessness, right? You get accidents, you get murders. We're going to talk about it Wednesday because over the weekend we had more fatal accidents, more murders, at least 2 that I know of. The woman in the quarantine found dead. She seemed to have been raped and killed in the Baghdad. The other next one where some lady stabbed some man and killed him. You're having these things because, as I've said, it is my view that all of these things are occurring, the frequent road fatalities, the murders and other acts of violence, because you live in a society where the rule of law has broken down. The rule of law has broken down. People have no faith in the police. People have no faith in the justice system. People have no faith. A lot of people don't have no faith in the courts and all of that. And you're going to have these madness. People are going to decide to take things into their own hands. So we bring in CC for his closing remarks, and then we are going to be out of here. CC, your closing remarks.
All right. Remember we talked about the earlier the guy in Borbis who since June last year was charged, not yet interdicted. We talk about all the interdicted papers that the squatter signed. And then we also had one, because like they're not doing anything when most things when DPP advised. We had to talk about Inspector Roop, who was at Sparring down there for a very long time, charged and not interdicted, or subsequently interdicted. But here is another one. And this is still on 4C. Allegations of corruptions made against 3 members of that division. A lance corporal in the general duty section, a constable in the traffic, and a constable in the CID. For some time now, the file returned from the DPP say to proceed with criminal charges against those 3 persons. The lance corporal, general duty section, the constable CID, and the constable traffic. And they attempting to pervert the course of justice. There's a sole inspector, I won't call his name, who is making approaches to the complainant to give a NFA statement, no further action. But sometimes we use another word for the F. Anyway, I won't deal with that in this program. And approaches is being made for the complainant to be paid $500,000 to give a statement saying no further action. The file there for some time now, and no action is taken against the corporal, lance corporal, and the 2 constables, although the DPP advised that criminal proceedings be taken against them. So the file there knocking about the place there, and in the meanwhile, no action is being taken against them. So I don't understand what's going on there. But that looked like the normal thing, that when DPP advise or when disciplinary action to be taken against persons, very little or no action is being taken.
All part of a corrupt process. That's why we speak out exposing corruption and incompetence. It's all part of a corrupt process. Charges are recommended to be instituted, and nothing happens. And when charges are to be instituted, when there's evidence for charges to be instituted, same thing. If you get political contact, the DPP dances, and then nothing happens. Like in the case of Nigel Dharamlal, the former minister, nothing happens. And I say that's because the system is a corrupt system. The system is corrupt. How can you have a situation where, in the case of Sigobin, I think his name is, he is charged criminally, and should be interdicted from the date he appeared before the magistrate. But he's still working, still on the job. And when they attempt to say they're going to interdict him now, they're interdicting from a non-existent date, the 31st of June, 2023. And people are suggesting that these things are deliberately done to try to undermine the process. How can you have that? As in the case where Mr. Conway just referenced, DPP recommended charges against the people, and you have, according to him, policemen trying to pervert the course of justice by going to the victims to persuade them to accept payment so that charges are, to say they want no further action. If you want no further action, the first thing the police should do is institute the charges as recommended by the DPP. And when the time comes for the people to go to court to give the evidence, let them decide, let them go and tell the court that they don't want any further action so the court can question them to see if any the illegality was involved, whether they were coerced or pressured into saying that. That should be the process. You shouldn't even wait. From the time I know, when I was there as commander, from the time the file come back, it's charged right away. It's charged. I know it's a breakdown in the system because when, let me say this quickly. When the file goes through the crime chief to the DPP and the DPP recommends criminal charge against a police rank, from the DPP it goes back to the crime chief and it goes to the commissioner's office to advise him that the DPP has recommended criminal charges against members of the force. As I know it, once it gets to the commissioner's office, what used to be the staff officer is advised and they make a copy. And then the original file is sent back to the divisional commander for charges to be instituted. So from the time the charge is instituted, even before a written report is sent, I would have called the staff officer because they had a copy of the file and say, in reference to this matter, John Jones appeared in court on such and such a date, and therefore interdiction notice should be prepared, the report is sent. And that is what the process used to be. But they are disregarding the process altogether now, and therefore that is why we have all these issues. Folks, we have had a full morning, and as I indicated, on Wednesday, God Spare Life, we're going to be here again at 11 o'clock for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Until then, we urge that you stay safe, walk in the straight and narrow. The roads are dangerous. All kind of things are happening. Stay safe, and we will see you at 11 o'clock on Wednesday, God's willing. Until then, stay safe. Bye.